What happens when a broke pregnant delivery girl discovers the father of her baby is Korean most powerful heir? One tampered drink, one locked room. 4 months later, she's collapsing in the hospital, penniless. And the man who ruined her life just paid the bill. He turns, their eyes lock. It's you! The ultrasound heartbeat hits the screen. This baby is mine? In zero point 0.1 seconds, the most untouchable man in Korean just became a father, and she became the one woman his empire will never accept. Would you make him beg or walk away forever? Before we begin this story, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Your support means a lot to us. Now let's dive in. Please, you need to check again. Ji-hye begged the hospital receptionist in Gangnam, her voice breaking with desperation as she clutched her swollen belly. The woman behind the desk barely lifted her eyes from the computer screen. The account shows zero balance. That's impossible, Ji-hye whispered, panic rising in her chest. I've deposited every one I earned from my delivery job. Every single payment from morning until night. Try the card one more time, she pleaded, her hand trembling as another wave of pain shot through her abdomen. The receptionist's expression remained cold and unmoved. This is a medical center. Every person here experiences discomfort. If payment cannot be processed, please step away from the counter. You're blocking other patients. Ji-hye stumbled backward, her vision swimming with tears as she fumbled for her phone with shaking fingers. She knew the answer before she even dialed, but hope died hard. Taemin Appa, she said quietly when he answered. Did you remove the funds from my account again? Please return them. I have a prenatal appointment today that I cannot miss. His voice came through the phone distorted and careless, background noise of shuffling cards and shouting men filling the spaces between his words. Once this game ends, we'll have abundant funds. Ji-hye, ya. Just have faith in your Appa. We cared for you for 10 years after your parents passed away in that tragic accident. You must trust us with this small matter. That money belongs to my child's future, Ji-hye whispered, her hand instinctively covering her stomach protectively. You cannot simply withdraw it without asking. Stop that weeping. You're disrupting my concentration. I need complete focus. He snapped before ending the call abruptly. Ji-hye collapsed against the hospital corridor wall, sliding down until she sat on the frigid tile floor. Her baby shifted inside her, as though sensing her distress, and she whispered through her falling tears, "Forgive me, little one. Oma is doing everything possible." The memory of that evening 4 months earlier crashed over her like a wave. The luxurious estate in Pyeongchang-dong, the mysterious package she'd been hired to deliver, the confusion that followed, the stranger's gentle eyes before everything became blurred and overwhelming. She had been so careful throughout her entire existence, so cautious and guarded. And one misunderstanding had led to this moment alone, penniless, and fighting for 2 lives instead of 1. Miss, you really must vacate this area if payment cannot be arranged, another nurse stated, her tone marginally softer but still resolute. Ji-hye forced herself upward, ignoring the sharp stabbing sensation in her lower abdomen. She had endured worse circumstances. She would endure this as well. She had to survive this trial. For her baby's future, she possessed no alternative path. The exclusive residential district of Seongbuk-dong sparkled under the afternoon sunlight as Ji-hye carefully guided her delivery scooter through the immaculate streets. Perspiration formed on her forehead despite the refreshing autumn breeze. This is a restricted residential zone. Obtaining a taxi here proves quite challenging. Would you appreciate a ride? A deep masculine voice asked from behind her. Ji-hye turned to find a strikingly handsome man standing beside a sleek black vehicle, his expression kind despite his obviously wealthy appearance. Her breath caught something about his face seemed familiar, like a dream she couldn't quite remember. Oh, he's not approaching me, she thought, her heart racing unexpectedly. Across the street, another man laughed from inside an identical luxury car. Intrigued by the delivery worker, Hyun? I could offer some money and arrange a meeting between you two rather quickly. The handsome man's expression hardened immediately. No, you don't desire affection that's purchased through transactions. Think logically, Min Jun, the other man continued. You're the heir to the Kang family empire. You cannot afford to allow romantic idealism to interfere with practical matters. Oma is organizing a gathering tonight. Celebrities, actresses, countless beautiful women of proper background. The time has arrived to select a suitable wife. I hold no interest in that plan, Min-jun replied flatly. I'm declining the invitation. You must attend, Young. If you refuse, Oma will make my life complicated. Show your younger brother some compassion and understanding. Min-jun sighed heavily. Fine. I'll make an appearance. However, I absolutely refuse to accept any arranged marriage proposal. Excellent, Young. His brother grinned with obvious relief. Ji-hai quickly looked away, pretending she hadn't overheard their entire conversation. Her phone buzzed with another delivery notification. Mrs. Kang had included a 200,000 won tip for delivering medicine properly and intact. With these funds, she could finally pay her university tuition before facing expulsion. As she carefully loaded the medicine package into her delivery bag, she whispered to herself, just a few more deliveries, just a little more endurance. We can accomplish this, little one. The baby kicked in response, and despite everything, Ji-hai smiled softly. That evening, the Kang family estate in Hanam-dong blazed with lights and expensive luxury. Ji-hai carefully parked her scooter near the service entrance, double-checking the delivery address on her phone. I heard Min-jun from the Kang family is selecting his wife tonight, one woman said excitedly to her friend near the main entrance. I spent hours perfecting my makeup and wore my finest jewelry collection. If he merely glances my direction, my parents claim it will elevate our family's business standing overnight. Ji-hai kept her head lowered as she approached the entrance with the medicine package, trying to remain invisible among the glamorous guests arriving in designer gowns and expensive suits. Watch where you're walking, a sharp voice suddenly snapped. Ji-hai looked up to find an elegantly dressed woman staring at her with clear irritation. You've creased my dress with your carelessness. Don't touch me again. Your hands will damage it further. I apologize sincerely, but my hands are actually clean, Ji-hai replied quietly, showing her palms. The woman's eyes narrowed with disapproval. Who permitted someone like you to enter this gathering? You clearly don't belong here. I'm here to deliver a package that was requested, Ji-hai explained patiently. A delivery? The woman said loudly, drawing attention from nearby guests. I don't believe that excuse. You must be here to take things that don't belong to you. I'm not here to take anything, Ji-hai protested, her voice rising slightly. I genuinely have a package to deliver as my job requires. A package? The woman took the wrap box from Ji-hai's hands abruptly. What's contained inside this? Something valuable you plan to take? You cannot open someone else's private package, Ji-hai objected, reaching for it. I do whatever I choose, the woman said firmly. Security personnel, come immediately. There's someone here who shouldn't be. Two security guards approached quickly, search her carefully. I haven't taken anything, Ji-hai insisted, her voice trembling now. She might have items concealed. I'll check properly, the woman said with a confident smile. Please don't, Ji-hai whispered, embarrassment stinging her chest as guests began gathering to watch. Remove your hands from her immediately. A commanding voice suddenly cut through the commotion. Everyone turned to see Min-jun striding toward them, his expression dark with controlled frustration. Security personnel, what exactly are you doing? Can't you see that this situation is unacceptable? Remove this person from her immediately and ensure she faces appropriate consequences. One guard moved toward Ji-hai, but Min-jun's voice stopped him instantly. Not her. Remove the woman who's been creating this disturbance. The elegantly dressed woman's face went pale. Mr. Kang, I'm from the Park family. We've been introduced previously at business functions. That's my cousin, and that's my brother standing there. Surely you remember us? Another man stepped forward eagerly. Mr. Kang, I'm the heir to DF Entertainment Corporation. We've met on several occasions. Min-jun's expression remained unchanged. I understand perfectly. Please remove these individuals from the premises immediately. Furthermore, I'm ending all business partnerships from this moment forward with both your families. The Kang Corporation doesn't conduct business with people who mistreat others based on superficial judgments. The woman's face shifted from pale to red with embarrassment and frustration. This is all that delivery worker's fault. She's affected our family's standing. Release me this instant, she said to the security guards. If my family experiences setbacks because of this, I'll address it directly. Enough, Min-jun said quietly, but his voice carried absolute authority. Escort them out. Now, after they'd been removed, he turned to Ji-hai with concern, replacing his earlier coldness. It's becoming quite late. You should travel home safely after completing your work. Be cautious on the roads. He's the most handsome man I've ever encountered in my entire life, Ji-hai thought, her heart fluttering lightly. Hyung, Min-jun's younger brother, called out, approaching with a beautiful woman on his arm. Please meet Miss Seo Yeon. She's a rising actress in Korean cinema. I hold no interest, Min-jun replied shortly. Well then, this is Hai-won. She's the governor's daughter. Do you recall her from childhood? Min-jun shook his head. I actually don't remember that connection. It's rather noisy in here. I think I need to depart. Wait, Hyun, his brother said urgently. You're the Kang family heir. Even if you refuse marriage currently, you must at least consider producing an heir eventually. If you don't, Oma will pressure me to marry immediately. We both understand I'm preparing for a major medical career. I cannot be constrained by family obligations at this stage. None of that concerns me at this particular moment, Min-jun said dismissively. I have other matters requiring my attention. Oma will do everything she can to secure the heir she desires, his brother pressed. Why don't you simply wait in the private room until the gathering concludes? It will keep Oma content and satisfied. Min-jun sighed with resignation. Fine. I'll wait there. Forgive me, Hyung, his brother muttered after Min-jun walked away. But for the sake of my own future plans, I must act as Oma's ally in this matter. Initiating the alternative plan now. Inside the private room, expensive candles flickered softly, casting warm shadows across the elegant furniture. Min-jun's brother surveyed the scene with satisfaction before pulling out his phone. The setting is perfectly arranged. Now, which woman should I direct inside? A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Don't be concerned, he said warmly, opening the door to find Ji-hai standing there nervously. I'm one of the helpful people here. My older brother assisted you earlier. Do you recall? Ji-hai nodded hesitantly. Do you know someone called Joe? Mrs. Kang requested I deliver medicine to him, Ji-hai explained, showing the package. Joe is Oma's affectionate nickname for Min-jun, the brother realized. So she's delivering medicine from Oma. But Hyung isn't experiencing any illness. What medicine did Oma arrange to send? His eyes widened with sudden understanding. Oh, Joe refers to my brother, and the medicine is simply a pretense. You must be the woman Oma selected for tonight. This outfit choice is simple but appealing. You might genuinely interest him. Oh no, this is my actual work uniform, not an outfit for an event, Ji-hai said quickly. I'm simply a delivery person completing my assigned job. Of course. Maintain that polite nature, he said with an encouraging smile. Well then, allow me to escort you to my brother. He'll sign for the package you're delivering. He led her down a corridor to an ornate door, knocked once, then guided her gently inside before stepping away. Sir, I have a package requiring your signature, Ji-hai announced politely. Min-jun turned from the window, surprise crossing his features. It's you from earlier. What are you doing here? He asked, but his voice sounded strained somehow. Ji-hai noticed he was leaning heavily against the desk, slight perspiration forming on his forehead. Sir, are you experiencing discomfort? Why is my temperature rising suddenly? This feels abnormal. The package, she said, concerned by his obvious distress. Joe, you must not forget your package. It requires a signature. She approached with the electronic pad extended. Could you sign here, please? Are you certain you're well, sir? Do you require medical assistance? Min-jun's hand caught her wrist, his grip surprisingly gentle despite his obvious confusion. You assisted me earlier tonight. Now I should assist you in return. I'm truly sorry circumstances led to this situation, he whispered, his voice filled with regret as his other hand reached toward her face. What happened in that room would change both their lives forever, though neither could know it in that moment of confusion and misunderstanding, where the medicine had been tampered with and intentions had been manipulated by others seeking control. 4 months later, Ji-hai stood in that same hospital corridor, remembering that night and all its consequences. Her baby shifted inside her, and she whispered, "Your appa doesn't even know you exist yet, little one. But I promise you'll be cared for. I promise." The morning after that difficult evening, Ji-hai had awakened in an unfamiliar luxurious bedroom, alone and confused. Her clothing had been neatly folded on a nearby chair, and an envelope lay on the bedside table. She'd opened it with trembling fingers to find a substantial amount of cash inside, along with a brief note in elegant handwriting. "Take this to my mother. She will provide whatever assistance you require for last night's situation." The words had struck her like a physical blow. Situation, assistance. As though she'd been. "No," she'd whispered, tears streaming down her face. "It wasn't like that. I would never." But who would believe a delivery worker over a powerful family's heir? So she'd taken the money, used it for initial prenatal care, and tried to forget the gentle eyes of the man who now misunderstood her completely. "Miss?" A new nurse approached with a kind expression. "Are you the pregnant woman who collapsed earlier? A gentleman has settled your medical bills and arranged for your treatment. Please come with me." Ji-hai looked up in confusion. "A gentleman? Who?" He didn't provide his name. Simply stated that you were under his family's care now. "The physician is prepared to examine you immediately." As Ji-hai followed the nurse down the corridor, she wondered desperately who could have discovered her situation, and whether this mysterious benefactor represented support or simply another complication in her already impossibly tangled life. The examination room door opened, and her breath caught in her throat. Standing there, looking equally shocked, was Min-jun, the father of her child, though he didn't know it yet. Their eyes met across the sterile white room, and Ji-hai saw the moment recognition struck him like lightning. "It's you," he whispered. The doctor cleared his throat. "Shall we proceed with the examination? The patient and her baby require immediate attention." Min-jun's face went completely pale. "Baby?" And Ji-hai knew, in that suspended moment of revelation, that her secret had just shattered into 1,000 irreparable pieces. The truth she'd tried so desperately to hide was now exposed in the worst possible way. "Please," she whispered, clutching her stomach protectively. "Let me explain what truly happened that night." But Min-jun had already turned away, his shoulders rigid with tension, and Ji-hai's heart broke into fragments as sharp as glass. The nurse gently guided Ji-hai onto the examination table while the physician prepared the ultrasound equipment. Min-jun remained by the door, his expression unreadable. "The baby's heartbeat is strong," the doctor announced moments later, pointing to the flickering image on the screen. "However, the mother shows severe signs of malnourishment and stress. This is extremely concerning at this stage of pregnancy." "What does that mean exactly?" Min-jun asked, his voice tight. "It means if she continues under these conditions, both mother and child face serious risk," the doctor explained gravely. "She requires proper nutrition, rest, and absolutely no additional stress or physical strain." Min-jun's jaw clenched visibly. "Ensure she receives the finest care available. Cost is not a consideration." "I cannot accept such support," Ji-hai protested weakly from the table. "I'll manage on my own as I have been." "Clearly that approach isn't working effectively," Min-jun replied, his tone harder than she'd ever heard. "Unless you desire harm to come to your child?" The accusation stung, and tears sprang to Ji-hai's eyes. "Of course I don't desire that. I've sacrificed everything for this baby's well-being." "Then accept assistance when it's offered," he said, though his voice softened slightly. The doctor excused himself discreetly, leaving them alone in the examination room. The ultrasound screen still displayed their baby's image, a tiny, perfect form that connected them whether they wished it or not. That night, Ji-hai began quietly, "I truly was only delivering medicine. Your mother, Mrs. Kang, hired the service I work for. I didn't understand what was happening until it was too late to prevent it." Min-jun's shoulders remained tense. "My mother claims she simply hired a delivery service. She didn't specify whether the courier would be male or female. She certainly didn't arrange for what occurred between us. I'm not someone who exchanges closeness for money," Ji-hai whispered, her voice breaking. "I would never do such a thing. That's not who I am." Something in her tone must have reached him, because Min-jun finally turned to face her directly. His expression had shifted from cold anger to troubled confusion. "I believe you," he said quietly. "I'm truly sorry for my assumptions that morning. I should have listened instead of making judgments." Relief flooded through Jihai so powerfully that fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Thank you for believing me. That means more than you could possibly understand." "Why didn't you contact me?" Min-jun asked, moving closer to the examination table. "Why face this completely alone for months?" Jihai looked away, shame coloring her cheeks. "You left money in a note suggesting I was providing services. I thought you wanted nothing to do with me. And honestly, what would I say? Hello. Remember that night of confusion? I'm carrying your child. You would have assumed I was attempting manipulation." Min-jun flinched at her words. "That note was inappropriate. I was confused and I handled the situation poorly. But you're carrying my child. Jihai, that changes absolutely everything. I don't desire to trap you into unwanted obligations," Jihai said firmly, meeting his gaze again. "I'll raise this baby myself. You'll marry someone appropriate from your social circle eventually. I promise to remain out of sight and not cause complications." "Stop talking like that," Min-jun interrupted, his voice sharp with frustration. "This is my child too, my responsibility. I don't abandon my responsibilities, Jihai." "Responsibility," she echoed softly, her heart sinking. "Is that all this baby represents to you? An obligation to fulfill?" Before Min-jun could respond, his phone rang insistently. He glanced at the screen and sighed. "I need to take this. It's the hospital where I work. Don't leave, please. We're not finished discussing this." He stepped into the corridor, and Jihai could hear his muffled voice speaking medical terminology she didn't understand. She placed her hand on her stomach, feeling the baby move beneath her palm. "Your appa is a good person," she whispered to her unborn child. "He's just processing everything. We'll figure this out somehow, little one. I promise." When Min-jun returned moments later, his expression had transformed completely. Professional doctor replacing conflicted father-to-be. "There's an emergency at the hospital requiring my immediate presence," he explained quickly. "But I'm arranging for a private room here for you. Stay overnight for observation. I'll return as soon as possible to continue our conversation." "That's unnecessary," Jihai protested. "I can return to my small apartment. I'll be perfectly fine there." "You collapsed in a hospital corridor," Min-jun reminded her firmly. "You're not fine. Please, Jihai, for the baby's sake if not your own, accept this help." She wanted to refuse based on pride alone, but the baby kicked again, as if urging her to be sensible, and she found herself nodding reluctantly. "Only for tonight," she agreed. "Tomorrow I'll return to my normal life." Min-jun looked like he wanted to argue further, but his phone buzzed again urgently. "We'll discuss tomorrow when I return. Rest now, doctor's orders." He left swiftly, and Jihai was transferred to a private room far more luxurious than anything she'd experienced.